This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Readers, I want to start this video by stating an absolute fact. My Dad the Bounty Hunter absolutely slaps. Yes, I know I sorta rhymed there, but give me a break here, I absolutely mean it. First and foremost, the blackness. Whoo, the blackness. Just in the first 2 episodes alone, the blackness of this show is so prominent. The mannerisms, the inside jokes, the skin tones. Oh my God, the skin tones. Everything about My Dad the Bounty Hunter tells me that it was made by a team of black creatives that always wanted to see themselves featured in a fun science fiction adventure story that would typically be reserved for featuring white faces. Because My Dad the Bounty Hunter is a fun science fiction adventure that does a great job at telling a story of a father reconnecting with his kids in a way that doesn't give conservatives or white liberals bad faith argument fuel regarding the topics of black parenting or the absentee father stereotype. I mean, it's not gonna stop them from doing so, but at least it'll be incredibly difficult to do so. However, upon my initial watch of My Dad the Bounty Hunter, I noticed something within the show that can factor into a lot of the messages it successfully conveys with the struggles of Sabo Brok, real name Terry, and how much influence it has. And for today's lesson, I kinda wanna shine a light on that one aspect, which is the show's overall antagonistic force, the EHC, otherwise known as the Conglomerate, and how its reach over the known universe of the show, the impact it has on other individuals, especially Terry, and the persistent capabilities they display over the course of the show reflect a lot of the real-life examples and dangerous capabilities of late-stage capitalism. Let's begin. Hey readers, Laron here, offering you analysis and perspective on your favorite bits of geek and pop culture media. And this video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Surfshark is a virtual private network that's been making it their business to keep your online identity safe and your personal data protected from big companies and cybercriminals. It also helps swap your current internet location with a brand new one so you can virtually travel to any country around the globe thanks to its 3,200 servers in over 100 countries. As you know, My Dad the Bounty Hunter is an original series that you can only stream exclusively on Netflix. But you'd be surprised how much stuff is also available to stream on Netflix that's actually region locked because of contracts that only make it available to stream in your country through other streaming apps. Well, with Surfshark, you can change your IP address to a country that has the movie or series available on Netflix that you can't otherwise stream on the app where you are, and now can stream it just as easily as anything else there. Surfshark VPN has been a lifesaver to me ever since this became my full-time job, not just in this regard, but in also making sure my computers are free from malware, that my online data is secure when I'm traveling, and that my overall privacy is secure. That's why I'm working with Surfshark so that if you use the code Readus when you sign up, you'll get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. And you can use this one account on all of your devices, your PC, your laptop, your gaming consoles, at no extra cost. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee if Surfshark isn't picking up what you're putting down, so there's no risk at all for you trying it out. Remember, use the code READUS or the link in the description box below to get 83% off of your order and an extra 3 months for free. Doing so not only helps expand your safety and entertainment on the internet, but it also helps out the channel as well. Thanks again to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video. Now, on to the lesson. How bad is the EHC? I mean, from seeing what they're capable of in season 1, it's pretty safe to assume that they're pretty bad. You see, it's easy to associate this fictional conglomerate as a parody of two of the currently most well-known real-life multinational corporations of our lifetime, Disney and Amazon. Like Amazon, we can see over the course of the season that the EHC's reach across the universe is incredibly vast. Even as far as reaching Earth, a planet that's established as being one where the majority of its population is ignorant to the fact that life outside of this planet actually exists, making it incredibly easy for certain aliens on the land to lay low thanks to its isolation.
How'd you even find this place?
It wasn't easy.
Now, the main association the show gives the EHC to Disney is in its beginnings in entertainment with the existence of the theme park Chilliworld, but I assure you that the influence matches the same levels of comparing the EHC to Amazon as the show progresses, especially if you're aware of how their influence has been steadily present in multiple markets of media and entertainment lately. The Disney variables are just as prominent, and I'll be covering them later on in this video. Like I stated before, it's easy to associate the EHC to real-life conglomerates like Disney and Amazon for these specific reasons, and they wouldn't be wrong associations either. But then the plot revelation regarding the Chillas happened. That they were the prominent and intelligent native species of Chilion 5 before EHC came, forced them into slavery to mine their own precious resources and occupied their land by building an amusement park on it. So not only have we established in one episode that the EHC is big enough across the universe in order to thrive off of militarism, because what we initially think are just security guards for Chilliworld, we later find out are the EHC's own private military, colonialism by claiming foreign land as their own, and imperialism by establishing their own rules and regulations onto said foreign land in the form of the amusement park. But the capitalism that is funneled from it is twofold. Because while the aforementioned three policies and beliefs predate capitalism, the end result of many nations over the course of history utilizing the three in order to create their own oppression megazords usually find themselves gaining capital via multiple strings of resources as a result. Natural resources supplied by the land that they're invading, and free labor in the form of enslaving the indigenous people, for example. As you can imagine, gaining free labor and forcing them to excavate their own natural resources for the conglomerate is one form of capital EHC acquires. Then they gain a new source of it with the actual creation of the theme park acting as a front. Charging admission, selling food, toys, and souvenirs, all while fooling the rest of the universe who attend the park to believe that the Chillas are an endangered species and having them be part of the branding, merchandising, and even entertainment in order to keep their actual living conditions hidden from those who would raise an eyebrow. It all supplies them with an additional source of income that branches off from the main reason they invaded in the first place. And things start falling into place when this revelation happens, and you take into consideration everything that EHC represents when played out in reality. Especially in regards to Vax, Terry's bounty, and the eventual reveal that, as a previous employer of the EHC, she could no longer sit idly by and watch the conglomerate become this omnipotent force of blatant superiority, and becomes an anarcho-socialist liberator while the EHC brands her as a terrorist in response. Even Lisa, Terry's daughter, after 2 interactions with Vax and after being subjected to the conditions the EHC put the Chillas under, just like Terry and her brother Sean, is able to see that Vax isn't the villain that the EHC paints her to be in The Bounty, and that it's actually the EHC itself. So why couldn't Terry? Well, as you can imagine, the short answer is pretty much because late-stage capitalism forces you to not prioritize morals and ethics in order to try and obtain financial security. But because I need this video to be a certain length, here's the long answer. Terry's trade of choice is bounty hunting, which, as the show informs us, is a gig job. A pretty dangerous gig job, but a gig job nonetheless. He's been doing this since the mid-90s, which I assume he was in his 20s during that time period when he found out that aliens exist, space bounty hunters exist, and that space bounties pay way more than terrestrial ones.
That's gotta be like $5,000.
That's a good amount, right?
Over the course of that period of time, Terry met and fell in love with Tess, already making a hard decision not to turn her in for the bounty on her head, in order to move back to Earth to start a life together thanks to a being ignorant of alien life, and thusly, as mentioned earlier, off the radar of any large enterprises he usually works for. Then, with the decision to start a family, Terry began to make some pretty harsh choices. He broke off his partnership with Glorlox, the one who introduced him to bounty hunting in space in the first place. And while we see over the course of the show that Glorlox is still pretty hurt about Terry's decision years later, it isn't really hard to put together that the reason for Terry's decision was that splitting bounties with Glorlox wasn't going to cut it anymore. The same can also be said regarding why Terry treated pretty much every job with the highest priority after he and Tess settled down, whether they were assigned by the EHC or not. More on that later. And in doing so, he sacrificed his relationship with Tess and forming a relationship with his kids for the sake of providing for them when all any of them wanted was for him to be there. The unfortunate reality of My Dad the Bounty Hunter is that late-stage capitalism affects the universe of the show just as much as it affects the real-world United States. The mentality of having to sacrifice life and cherishing it with your loved ones in order to provide for your loved ones in this endless circle of capitalistic perpetuation is how a lot of us justify sticking with the program, even if we're doing something we actually enjoy doing. That's why he reacted the way he reacted when he caught Lisa helping Vax liberate the Chillas, despite witnessing them being used for slave labor by the same company he accepted the bounty for. He's not being a bounty hunter because he finds fulfillment in it anymore. He's being a bounty hunter because it provides for his family and keeps them from being homeless.
You understand that everything I do is for you guys? So you don't have it as hard as I did when I was your age. Your school, that house, your little plays, that's all this job. All of that is this job.
Maybe if things that reflected basic human and humanoid rights were applied to he and his family's life, like healthcare, housing, education, hell, even a universal basic income thrown in for good measure, then Terry could afford to be more liberal with the jobs that he takes on and allows his own morals and ethics to take the wheel. But because of how late-stage capitalism is set up, both in real life and in the world of My Dad the Bounty Hunter, he doesn't have that luxury. And because he doesn't have that luxury, he has it ingrained in him to be more willing to cut people off and turn a blind eye to a lot of messed up stuff in order to take any and every job that comes his way. Even ones from shady space lizard people appropriately wearing the skin of a shady white businessman, representing the richest, yet shadiest, conglomerate business in the universe. One where, as the show has gone on to display, won't take no for an answer. Remember, readers, despite being a bounty hunter, Terry is an independent contractor. His income solely comes from taking jobs from multiple organizations, individuals, and companies across the universe that are willing to pay money for him to capture the likes of criminals, fugitives, and wanted individuals. This free market of being able to take jobs like this from a wide array of individuals, not just one corporation that has multiple monopolies under its belt, is what society tries to sell you as an ideal for capitalism regarding why it should be supported. However, it doesn't work the way they tried to sell it to you when late-stage capitalism allows for all of this healthy competition to be bought up, redistributed, and most of the time, shut down by a competitor that wants as many fingers in the cookie jar as possible. Because circling back to just how dangerous the EHC are in the world of My Dad the Bounty Hunter, that's exactly what they are and represent. Even before we learned about their military might, or that they have experience in colonization, we know them as one of Terry's biggest paying clients to date. We know that they were persistent, ignored personal boundaries,
We tried going through your fixer, but she kept turning us away.
and were absolutely confident that they would successfully persuade him to hunt Vax for them with a ridiculous sum of money, using motivators that put him down this trajectory in the first place to solidify them getting their way.
With the money you stand to make from this run, you can afford a much better life for your son. And your daughter.
Because just like I stated in my video on Glass Onion, capitalism, especially when dealing with a conglomerate as huge as the EHC as is shown in My Dad the Bounty Hunter, is about control. Not just in regards to the market, but in the decisions and machinations of others. How assertive they were in getting Terry to take the job, thanks to watching how efficient he is with other clients of his in the past, is one example.
But we like to keep tabs on operators of your caliber.
And another one is in relation to the bounty, and how quickly the EHC was willing to renege on the offer they gave Terry when Glorlox turned in the bounty instead, merely offering him and his crew 15% of what they were originally going to pay Terry.
If you had contacted us about your intentions sooner, we could have negotiated better compensation.
Then we apply the fact that the EHC are, in fact, capitalists that have roots in militarism, imperialism, and colonialism, and just how powerful they've proven to be across the show's known universe because of it. We take into consideration that not only have they more than likely bought out complete businesses and companies, but have forced entire species into slave labor on their own planets, while they utilize it how they see fit via conquest. Knowing how late-stage capitalism and the formation of monopolies work, throwing their money and status around to get Terry to cooperate is pretty normal. But what's also normal is them buying up all the competition or finding ways to get said competition to retract their bounty offers so that Terry would have no choice but to use the EHC as now his only source for bounty hunting gigs, and threaten to blackball him out of his career if he decided to stick to his guns.
Y'all got some nerve doing me like this.
So is that a yes?
These are the things that are already within the realm of possibility with corporations and conglomerates in real life. So after seeing how the EHC was represented in My Dad the Bounty Hunter, these what-ifs honestly aren't out of the realm of possibility. Especially since, thanks to the season finale, the EHC has shown us that they clearly have the power to make the lives of Terry and his family a living hell in multiple ways than the one that would force them into subservience.
You couldn't just take the money.
Readers, if you have to sit down and wonder if the true problem with how we as a society has come to function, regardless of ethnicity and class, is because of late-stage capitalism, it's more than likely late-stage capitalism. Because while My Dad the Bounty Hunter has shown that it even has the potential to exist in space, and how it can mirror and amplify a lot of how it's affected us in real life here on Earth, It also shows how much it's affected our lives, relationships, and perspective of things just for the sake of survival. So it leaves us to make the important decision to either continue playing its game or deviate from it in an attempt to right the wrongs it caused and hope to create something better. Something that allows you to properly spend time with your family instead of sacrificing your morals and ethics in an attempt to just support your family. You know, more in the direction of the future of Star Trek than in the future of, Blade Runner. Just know that when you do, be prepared for late-stage capitalism to paint a huge target on your back. But I digress, readers. Your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comment section below what you thought of My Dad the Bounty Hunter if you've seen it. Or if you feel like sharing with the rest of the class a film or television show you've seen that you believe did a great job showing off the effects late-stage capitalism has on members of the working class. Whichever question you decide to answer, I'd love to know your thoughts. A huge shout out to my patrons, both big and small, for helping make this channel possible. Make sure you check out the card at the end of the video to join, or click the link to it or any of my affiliates in the description box below. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.